I just think one of my greatest strengths is my instincts, honestly. I think that's just from a self-awareness standpoint, that's one of my greatest strengths. You know, I think one of the reasons that we've been successful here is, you know, I've always just leaned on that. And I think sometimes, you know, you can listen to too much, listen to too many people, and you can get away from what you're truly convicted with. And so, you know, I got to be better in that area.
And when you talk about like a challenging of core beliefs after 2010, do you feel like that's something that needs to happen this season?
No. We're in a completely different world than we were then. No, it's a lot easier to fix it now than it was then. A lot easier. So that's one positive. We're in a little different spot than we were then.
You talked about perspective and kind of seeking out the good. What did you learn from yourself, you know, on and off the field throughout the course of the last couple of months?
I mean, just to again stay connected to the things that matter. My fundamentals of life of just keep my eyes on the Lord, no matter what, good or bad, to believe and don't quit. That's just the fundamentals of life for me. And you know, and that's where things are going, if they're going great or they're going bad. And, you know, so sometimes there's just certain things you don't control. I mean, sometimes you can do your best and it just ain't good enough, you know. And this is a tough profession that we signed up for. It's a tough profession. And again, sometimes there's just things out of your control, whether it's a call or a turnover or, you know, somebody else makes a great play or, you know, whatever, and, you know, momentum and different things. So just stay the course. Just stay the course. Stay, again, committed to the things that you believe in. That's the main thing. Don't flinch.
I guess talk about that you have a sense you have to get back to your instincts. So you've done a lot of reflection in terms of what you have to change going forward? Or?
Yeah, but not a lot of reflection. Just my focus right now is what we got to do to beat Florida State. But yeah, there's anytime you come out of a game, you reflect. I mean, that's just what you do. You spend every moment post game trying to reflect on what you got to do better. You know, what went wrong. You know, on and on and on, and then you reset. You know, so. Yeah, I'm not wasting much time looking to next year. I'm focused on Tuesday practice today. That's what I'm locked in on right now.
With it being the Hall of Fame game and DeAndre Hopkins getting inducted, what made him so special, especially being the local guy, and what's it like for you to see him get inducted this weekend?
I'm super proud of him. I mean, you know, he's still going. I mean, he's still playing. I mean, just one of those guys. In fact, he was on that 2010 team. In fact, he was. I think he was our leading receiver as a freshman. I mean, he wasn't great. He was a big old skinny kid that just running around out there, and we just threw it to him. And he just somehow had one guy on him, he was wide open, and if he had two guys on him, he was still open. Just throw it to Nuke. So, and somehow, some way, he'd find a way to make a play. But his development was amazing. I mean, it really was. He was a basketball player playing football, and he played both sides of the ball. He was a great safety and just this amazing athlete. But what I loved about Nuke, relentless competitor and relentless belief in himself. That's what I loved about him. You know, and he was a guy we honestly almost didn't go on. And it's a reminder, again, instincts. You know, one of those things, instincts. And some of the instincts is recruiting and some of the things, because, again, it's, you know, we were a little different deal back in 10 and to where we are. But we made some decisions on some guys that we went and beat the best of the best with. We beat the best. That's one thing can't nobody ever take away. We beat the best of the best at their best. It was with recruiting classes of 13, 14, 15, all right? And some of those decisions were instincts, like Grady Jarrett. Instincts. Tig Willard. There were some of those. We had some linemen that maybe didn't necessarily play in the NFL, but they blocked and beat them NFL D linemen. So some instincts type stuff. But Nuke's one of those guys. I mean, because there's a lot of people probably missed on Nuke because he played basketball year round. I mean, this guy played on Friday night and then go play basketball on Saturday, Sunday. I mean, he just was a basketball kid, and he was not a very developed guy. And it's not like he lined up and learned how to run 40s and knew how to, all this overdevelopment that you see in today's world. And I think he went to some combine somewhere and somebody told him, hey, you better go do one of these combine things. And I think he ran a 4.7 or something, and a lot of people were scared probably to recruit him. And we were kind of like, because you get all this stuff and you start, and then he came over here to camp. And I'm like, I don't care what he runs. It don't matter what he runs. Just throw it to him. And I mean, it's amazing. And so his competitiveness and his relentless belief in himself has been amazing. And then he got better. And then, I think he was, I don't know, maybe 170-something pounds when he came in here, and he left here about 210, first-round draft pick. And he played basketball for a year and a half. And, I mean, finally I'm like, Nuke, you're like the seventh guy. You're the number one guy over here. So let's take 1 year and at least get in the weight room here. And he did. And he's one of the most dominant players I've ever been around. And again, he doesn't overwhelm you with his gonna run away from, but he runs fast. He got faster. He got stronger. He got technically developed and all that stuff, and just became superstar. And I mean, he'll be my first NFL Hall of Famer. I can't imagine he don't get in the NFL Hall of Fame one day. But I mean, I'm really proud of him, and so pretty cool to see him going there.
Catches for 1,000 in his career.
There you go. How many of them? There's probably not many of them that exist. It's a lot of catches.
He'll be the 17th.
There you go. How long's the NFL been around? A long time.
Ever think about playing him on defense?
Yep. We thought about it. Yeah.
As a senior high
Oh,
school.
yeah. Yeah, and a returner. I mean, he did a little bit of everything. I mean, oh, yeah. I mean, I had front row seat. That's one of the reasons we took him. I mean, I knew a lot about him, being in the area. So it's it ain't the last Hall of Fame he's going to be in. Wherever he played, he should be in the Hall of Fame somewhere. I mean, he's a great one. Proud of him. Got a great relationship with him. I mean, he's done really well too. I mean, he's a business guy. He's got a lot of things going on outside of football. He's really used the game of football. He really has. He's not a guy that's allowed football to use him, and he's working on his degree. I mean, he's doing a lot of things.
I gotta ask about Tim too. He sat next to you when you got that orange jacket to be head coach. To see him in this position.
Well, he survived me. So yeah, I mean, Tim Bourret is. I mean, I still think if Tim was here. I mean, because I get to see him all the time. But I mean, Tim, I wouldn't have made it without Tim. I mean, I really wouldn't. Him and Beth Douglas, I wouldn't, and Andy Johnston, I wouldn't have made it. Andy Johnston, Beth Douglas, Tim Bourret, Ren Wyndham, Jill Wilkes, I wouldn't have made it without them. I'd have never made it, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I knew how to coach, but I didn't know anything about housing or the media and all that stuff and all the behind the scenes routine stuff that I had to do. And Tim even to this day, Tim is such a great mentor for me, such a great voice of calmness. We've had some great moments. One of my favorite moments was celebrating the national championship with Tim, beating Notre Dame in 15. Like a game that just lasted for 100 years. It was like 100 years to happen, right? And then it was a 16-day layoff, and it had been planned forever. And it's like, and to live that moment with Tim, but then certainly the national championships, that first one was pretty cool. And then he kind of supposedly retired after that. But he's been a blessing to me. We've had a lot of tough moments in some locker rooms and some great moments, but he's always just such good counsel, such wisdom, and he's always let me be me, you know, and I think he learned me early and could help navigate me being me. So I've just always had a great appreciation for Tim. I mean, he's a friend. Finally got married. I finally talked him into that. So just, so just, I mean, Tim Bourret ought to be on the stadium. I mean, for sure. You know, he's as good as it gets, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way in this room. He's a pro's pro in every sense of the word, and you know, tells the truth, and he's tough and he's firm when he needs to be, but he's one of the smartest people I've ever been around. I mean, he's Clemson Google for a reason. I mean, I know half the stuff I know because he tells me. You know, I don't do any research, you know. He always makes me feel better. He'll say, yeah, but did you know? I'll be like, oh, we did that? Well, I thought we sucked. Okay, good, you know. I mean, so he's the best. He's the best. Love you, Tim, man. I'm proud of you, man. I mean, just so deserving. It's really cool. Is that this Friday? Is that this week? I mean, I know we did the thing a while back, but I've been out of the loop. So that's this week.
On your radio show, you said Coach Deion Sanders reached out to you. What was the conversation about, if you can share, and how have you...
Misery loves company. We just cried on each other's shoulder. Yeah, he's kind of become a friend, you know, just... got a chance to talk to him. I mean, he reached out to me this summer, I think, and just had never really connected. He's always been a hero of mine, but I've always liked him. I really have. Always have liked him. I've only met him one time in person when he was working with ESPN, but we just kind of connected this summer, had a lot to talk about, had a great conversation, and then he just reached out yesterday just to kind of chit chat, you know. And I mean, you know, again, you don't have a lot of peers in this business, but we're both kind of going through a challenging season. Ironically, we're playing Florida State. He did not wish me well, but anyway, just talked about hopefully nobody calls their shot like he did. But yeah, just professional conversation.
I don't think you've ever fired an assistant coach during a season, have you? When you've made changes, it's always been after?
Well, when I became interim.
But besides that?
Yeah, no, I haven't. And I just, you know, I'm sorry.
Is that a philosophy of yours? You don't want to make staff changes during a season? You always want to wait? If you're going to make changes, you always wait till after a season?
I mean, I believe in that. I mean, again, that's one of the things I believe in. I know listen, it's funny because Manny actually brought it up to me the other day. We were just talking, and Coach Diaz, and he goes, you know, he said, you probably don't remember this, but I've never forgotten it. He said, you know, he was the head coach at Miami, and he said, you know, we were in one of our meetings where we waste so much time, but we were in one of those meetings, and it was like talking about this expansion of a playoff down the road. You know, this is when there was 4, and you know, we went to 6 Final Fours. That may never be done again. You know, but we did it, and they were talking about the playoffs and all this stuff, and a lot of people were mad because, you know, some of the same teams were getting there, and you know, whatever, and we got to open it up. And I just had the message of, you know, I mean, listen, if we can get there with 4, I mean, we can get there with 12 or 20 or whatever. And we've been whatever format there's ever been, we've been there. We've had a seat. And so that Clemson has. When they voted you in the 80s, we did it, you know, against all odds. When it was a BCS, we didn't get to the national championship, but we got to the BCS. You know, when it was Final Four, we've done that many times. Went to 12, we've done that. First year, we've done it. We ain't gonna make it this year, but my message to the coaches were, well, I'm just gonna say this to you guys. If you know, whatever y'all want to do, I mean, hey, but I'm just telling you, the more we expand this playoff, the more coaches are gonna get fired. And Manny reminded me of that the other day. He said, and I said, yeah. He goes, do you remember? I said, yeah, I remember that. And here we are. And because we've created this system that's not sustainable, and we've just lost our way. Oh God, here goes Swinney's getting on his soapbox again. It'll be y'all write a million articles and clickbaits and all this, but we've lost our way. I mean, it's not us. We've created an NFL model, but the NFL is 32 teams and 16 spots. So it's the NFL is designed to be 8-8 or 9-8. That's the design of the league, and half the league is getting in the playoffs. So all year long, you have a chance for the playoffs. Even if you have a losing record, you could win in your division and you go to the playoffs, right? And that's what's driven that. But we got 136 teams for 12 spots. And so now we've made it all about the playoffs, and so people are losing their jobs. And you got people, even like for us this year, all of a sudden you're out of the playoffs early, so now it's not about your season anymore. For forever and ever and ever, what made college football special was it's about your season. It's about the pageantry of your program. It was about the relationships. It was about getting to a postseason. It was about your rival games, and now it's just all about the playoffs. And that's fine. I mean, if that's what it's going to be, that's fine. But the system is set up like people are going to get fired. And like, how many coaches have won championships in college football? Everybody acts like it's just so easy to do. And like it's just anybody can do it. There's some of the best coaches that ever coached this game didn't win a championship, didn't win their league, didn't win a national championship, and now it's harder than it's ever been, but to when you got 136 teams for 12 spots, so it's not feasible. So maybe we need a 48 team. I mean, it's never going back. So I mean, maybe it's a 48 team league with 24 spots. And then maybe you have a different league or you have relegate. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know. But I said that. Manny reminded me of that because I was like, well, a lot of coaches are going to get fired because now it's all of a sudden about the playoff and it ain't going to work. And winning is hard. We're being reminded of that this year at Clemson. And hopefully when we do win again, the way I know we are going to win, we'll have a different perspective. Kind of like when I got out of coaching for 18 months, I had a different perspective when I went back to coaching. And when we get this program back where it needs to be, we'll probably have a little different perspective. Because sometimes you can win so much, you lose appreciation for how hard it is. It's freaking hard, especially to win national championships. We've won 3 in 130 years, but we've won 2 in the last 9. And can't nobody take that away from us. And who else has done that? Who else? But people are getting fired because they hadn't done it. So I guess that's a long answer to your question, but I don't like firing coaches in the season. I don't like now. If you got a bad person, that's a different deal. Or you got some type of dynamic where, like, we can't be in the room together, like something like that. But we got great people here, great people, good men. There's no bad people here, and so hey, we go play the games. Let's go. We were all fired in 2003, for sure. Because we got 9-0 Florida State rolling up in here, and we just lost 45-17 to Wake, and I think they just beat Notre Dame 35-0. There you go. Clemson Google. All right, so no way this bad 5-4 lost to Wake 45-17. No way they're going to go beat undefeated 9-0 rolling Florida State. But old Charlie Whitehurst and the boys had something different for them, and we won 27-10. Right, so you play it. That's why you play the season. And again, we were a mess, but we got to the Peach Bowl. That was one of the coolest moments I've ever been, running that freaking trap draw to Chad Jasmine on like 3rd and 15 to score. And that's what college football used to be about, postseason and development and relationships and the pageantry. But again, not that that's still not there, but coaches are getting fired at an alarming rate because it's all about the playoff, and you have 136 teams for 12 spots. So something's got to give somewhere along the way. Because if you fire your coach every year because they don't get to the playoff or they don't win a national championship, you're going to have a hard time having a program. And we're fortunate here because I've been here a long time, and we have a program, we have a culture. We don't have cracks in our foundation here. Like this house right here is built on rock. There's no cracks in the foundation. Now, we got some people that ain't put their best stuff in it. Like, you know, we gotta be better. I gotta make sure we get the right people in the house, you know, in all aspects of it. But this thing's built right. It's built to last. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't mean we're immune to a bad year. I mean, they were gonna fire Coach Bryant in 1969, 1970. They were ready to run him out of town. 2 losing seasons in the SEC, and 6-5, 6-5. I mean, every great coach can have a bad year. But yeah, the playoff has changed a lot and just what's at stake. And that's why I was so frustrated with the refs, a little salty, because there's a lot at stake, and there's not consequences. In this coaches get crucified, fined, players get crucified, held to this unrealistic accountability standard. But refs have zero accountability. Well, they do, but it's behind a curtain. They get to go home and drink a beer and you know, get on with their life and just leave the carnage left behind that affects a lot of people losing jobs. And that system needs to change too. That system needs to change. There should be, first of all, these refs should be, with what's at stake now and what's going on, like the NFL, they're not part-time refs. Like they need to be full-time refs, and it needs to be a job. And there needs to be one leader and one voice, and that's what it should be, number one. And then there should be public accountability, period. Like you can't criticize them, but they're on the field, they're in the arena, but they're the only ones in the arena that have no consequences publicly. Or God forbid you get to pay a fine because you criticize performance. But yet everybody else can be criticized. It's a bad system the way it's set up. And there needs to be some change. There needs to be the ability to review egregious calls in certain situations. Because it means too much. People are losing jobs, whether it's assistants or head coaches or players, and how they get crucified on social media and things like that. Like it's impactful. So, you know, as opposed to just getting a report on Monday, you turn in 10. Yeah, we had a game. I'm not criticizing. I ain't gonna tell you the game. I'm not gonna say the game, but we're only allowed to turn in, you know, there's a system of accountability, but y'all don't know anything about it. It's behind a curtain. How dare we have accountability? In the meantime, we got gambling issues going on, people being suspended, all that kind of stuff, right? Yep. I mean, refs are people too. It ain't just coaches and players, and if they're a part of the game, then by God, they ought to be a part of the game. And they ought to be a part of the accountability, and they ought to be a part of the consequences, not just behind some shadowy curtain. Like, no, they ought to have to answer for it. And listen, there's judgment calls and all that, and I mean, we just have to disagree to disagree. But there's also absolute flat-out misses with no consequences. And, you know, and you get a shoot, we're allowed to turn in 10 calls. All right, and so we had a game earlier this year that we lost. I had 14 I wanted to turn in, but I only turned in 10. All right? I thought 8 were wrong, but got back. Yep, missed it. 5 of the 10 were wrong. And I mean, these are game-changing calls. Obvious pass interference, not called. That takes you off the field. But, you know, we just get this will be addressed with the crew and yada, yada, yada. Okay? Yeah, but you ain't there's no public accountability. Ain't none of that. So that's the system. The system needs to change. It needs to be changed. There needs to be challenge opportunity, and we need full-time officials. If you're going to have this type of stakes, it needs to be full-time officials. And everybody should have consequences. And the coaches and the players shouldn't be the only ones that publicly have accountability. That should change too with this system that we're in.
Take one more for Coach.
Ari Watford got ticketed over the weekend. Any comment on that?
No, just aware of it, and we'll deal with that.
The call call on Saturday, should it have been half the distance to the goal, or was it 15 yards?
Which call?
The PI at the end of the game.
Which one? The one that we got called on us? The OPI? Well, how about the OPI on us? That one?
No.
Oh, not that one?
It's
Okay.
the defense.
I'm just rolling up my fine. I'm gonna send pennies. I'm gonna mail them in pennies. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I can't speak on it. I got no right to.
Who's gonna fine? Is that you or the school?
I'm sure they'll just take it out of my check, but I think I'm just gonna get some pennies and just mail them in a box. That's what I'm gonna do.
Thank you, Coach.
23 years. All right. Y'all have a great day.